So we have a big story today because the FDA is now proposing ending the use of a decongestant found in many cold and allergy medicines. Now, many people have been sending me stories over the past 24 hours because of this coming out, but this is nothing new. The FDA has known about this since 2007, where they've done some research. They also discussed this last year, but only waited up until today to actually decide to potentially pull this. But there is a 180-day pretty much cooling off period. So we're going to see what happens moving forward, but I want to break down which decongestant this is and why this is such a big deal. So make sure you stick around and watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So this is actually pretty big news. When the FDA is proposing ending the use of a decongestant, well, there has to be reasons why. Now I want to read a little bit of this to you. It says right here, the Food and Drug Administration proposed ending the use of a common ingredient in many popular over-the-counter cold and allergy medications because it doesn't actually relieve nasal congestion. Yeah, they are saying this has been ineffective ever since it came out, which was in 1976. Now, look at this. It says the FDA said the proposed order is not final yet, which means companies can still market over-the-counter drugs containing oral phenylephrine for now. Keep in mind it's oral phenylephrine. But if you want the one that you actually take through your nose, okay, a nasal phenylephrine, you can take that and it's effective. Now, let's read this one last thing. It says a final order will force pharmacies to clear shelves of hundreds of products containing oral forms of the ingredient, which is found in versions of drugs such as NyQuil, Benadryl, Sudafed, and Mucinex. Okay. Keep in mind, it's the PE versions. So if it's Sudafed PE, NyQuil PE, those are the phenylephrines. All right? Now, I want to play this clip for you because this is going to explain it, much better than I can, but also give you a little more insights here.
All of this stuff has been on the shelves for decades. And
Since 1976.
We've been taking it, imagining that it's been working, but what the FDA is saying today is actually it never did work?
It never did work, and what they want to do is they're proposing an order to go ahead and take it off the shelves. But the way it works is that because they proposed this order, they have to have a 180-day comment period. So anybody, you guys, patients, scientists, doctors, can comment until May 7th, and then come May 7th, they'll make a decision on whether to actually make an order to remove it from the shelves.
Here's one thing you need to keep in mind. See where it says earliest could be next fall? The reason for this, even though the 180-day comment period would push it out until, May or March, whatever it is, the reason why is because the FDA, even though they could say, yeah, it's ineffective, doesn't work, which they've already said, the problem is it's out there. Companies have already mass-produced this, and so it would cost a lot of money to pull it all off the shelves and just throw it in the garbage. Now, the oral phenylephrine, that is ineffective, okay? But that is just one ingredient, okay? That's just one ingredient. So that's just for nasal congestion. But what about sore throat? What about cough? What about the other things? Pain relief, okay? So that's the reason why the FDA is saying that it's okay for now to keep it on the shelves. Even though it's ineffective, it's still safe. So just want to know your thoughts on that one.
What they're saying is back in 1976, studies were done differently. And looking at the studies, if they use today's standards, it would not have passed. This is oral phenylephrine, not nasal, but oral phenylephrine.
Okay, so but what do we know those brands? I mean, what are they? What is that?
So it is ubiquitous, and there was over $200 million worth of these medicines last year. And so if, but it's not all of them. If you look at some of them, they're Sudafed PE. It's the PE part, the phenylephrine, and not pseudoephedrine. It's phenylephrine, but it's only the oral phenylephrine, not the nasal one. The oral doesn't work because of the way our body metabolizes it. And so you want to be a label reader. Look on the back. It has pseudoephedrine. I'm sorry, it has phenylephrine. Then it's not going to work. It's not dangerous, FDA's mandate is safe and effective, so it's still safe. It's just not effective.
Keep that in mind. The FDA's mandate is safe and effective. It's safe. It's not effective. So they're going to potentially change this. Now, how quickly is going to happen? Again, it will probably be next year. So it means all these products are still going to be sitting on the shelves. Companies are still going to try to sell it. What you will likely see here in the near future is, especially if this does go through, chances are in the spring and summer of 2025, you're likely to see some massive deals on a lot of these products, simply because they have to get them off the shelf before a certain time. But we still don't know that yet. Let's keep listening.
Work. So what should folks be using instead, Dr. John?
So there's a variety of things they can use. They can use nasal steroid sprays, especially if it's allergic type reactions. They can use other nasal sprays, one called oxymetazoline, but you only want to use that for 3 days. On top of that, pseudoephedrine works great. It's over the counter, but you have to ask the pharmacist for it because of some issues there with making meth out of it. And then there's steam mist baths, nasal sprays, those kind of things. And so, again, yes, with pseudoephedrine, it was used to make meth, and so now it's restricted. You have to talk to the pharmacist. It's still over the counter.
What's weird is the FDA found this out a year ago.
Over a year ago, September.
A year ago, and now here we are a year later. What took so long for them to let everybody know?
What they're saying is they're saying that they got the advisory committee, which was a unanimous decision, September a year ago.
We did a story on it.
Exactly.
I remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the advisory committee said, yes, we should take it off the shelves. And they pushed forward saying, we're going to look at studies. We're going to think about this more and have some more discussions. Fast forward a year. Here we are.
So that's where we are today. That they knew back in 2007 that there were questions about this, but they didn't do anything. Look at this right here. I want to show you this. It says, although phenylephrine received FDA approval for over-the-counter use in the 1970s, which was actually 1976, its popularity surged in 2005 after legislation moved products that use a similar decongestant, pseudoephedrine, which in large quantities can also be used to make methamphetamine, behind pharmacy counters. It says the safety of phenylephrine isn't a concern, but its effectiveness has been debated for years. In 2007, an FDA advisory panel that reviewed available studies deemed that phenylephrine may be effective as a decongestant, although it recommended further research. The further research that was done actually went with nasal. Okay, was it effective as a nasal decongestant? But is it effective if it's through oral? Okay, if it's you take it orally or if you take it through your nose. Now, here's the reason why I got so many comments on this, okay? So many messages, people just in the past 24 hours messaging me asking what is going on here. One of the reasons why is because, again, they were already reviewing this, doing research in 2007 when they said it may be effective. But we had, COVID. We had, the vaccines for that. There was research. There was a lot of money thrown into it. We learned about that in about a year. So how come something that has been sold since 1976, which they had questions on in 2007, and even speculated last year that they need to ramp things up, why did it take so long? Well, it has to do with money. The amount of money that the pharmaceutical companies throw into politics, throw at our lawmakers. That's the reason why. There's a lot of issues here. A lot of issues. But they're still going to wait potentially another year before they even pull this off the shelves. So we'll see what happens, but I just wanted to share what we learned over the past 24 hours. If you have any questions whatsoever or comments, leave your questions and comments down in the comment section below, and I will, again, look at them, and we'll see. Maybe something changes when we get some more updates over the next week or two, but we'll see. So that's what we know as of today. Again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.